Well, hello, my name is Ian, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we're going to take a look at this soon-to-be released book from Cuneiform Records. Cuneiform are historically a record label releasing CDs and vinyl records from an enormous cast of really exciting and experimental and also historically important acts. I want to direct you to a couple of titles in which I worked on, this being the Facelift France and Holland concert 2 LP set, and then there's also a CD version of this. But yeah, this is discussed in the book, as is this box set here, Hova Code in 1971. And I, of course, also worked on this third Soft Machine concert from 1973. So, you know, they've been doing this kind of archival release thing for quite a while. And the thing that ties all three of these releases that I've discussed together and this book is that all of them feature liner notes, or in this case, the book text itself, written by Aymeric Leroy. I do plan to interview Aymeric and the label head Steve Feigenbaum about this book. And Cuneiform were kind enough to supply me with an advanced copy, which I'm about halfway through reading, and I've been really enjoying it. But I thought it would be nice to show you what Cuneiform's first foray into literature looks like. So here you have inside their bookmarks that they've created especially for this release. And I believe if you buy anything off of Cuneiform's Bandcamp or indeed waysidemusic.com, you're going to get one of these. But it's a long book, so you're definitely going to need these. All right. So you can see that as you're reading the book, they've chosen to put some photography in there to kind of aid you as they talk about specific, or I should say as Aymeric talks about specific releases. But then you also have some band photography, which is really nice. That's a great album. One of my very favorites, Gong's Flying Teapot album. So you might be asking yourself, I mean, it's not likely, I guess, if you clicked on a video about the Canterbury scene, what the Canterbury scene is, and or in this case was. And you know, it's interesting, but the scene has very few, if any, ties to the city of Canterbury in Kent. The only band, I guess, who were actually from Canterbury were Caravan. And all of these groups, or I should say the two major groups, Soft Machine and Caravan, kind of started as this parent group called the Wildflowers, and they splintered off into all of these different and interesting directions. Cross-pollination, members of different bands would end up in other bands together in different combinations, and what you end up with is a scene that is kind of loosely woven together, in my opinion, by bridging influences of jazz rock and jazz fusion with a bit of pop music. I think that the influence of pop music is something that is not really well recognized when talking about the Canterbury sound. And bands like Caravan, I think, are an excellent example of how a group could be experimental, could be avant-garde, could bring in all of these esoteric influences, but still write a great song. You know, Gulf Girl, I think, is an excellent example of a great song that comes from this period. But you know, also the early Soft Machine, the first album especially, but the second album as well. It kind of successfully combines these disparate and in many ways contrasting influences into something that is quite good, in my opinion. But so this book is available for pre-order from waysidemusic.com, and you may be able to get it from Cuneiform's Bandcamp as well. It's a little bit on the pricey side at $75, but as you can see, the quality speaks for itself, and the history here is just so fascinating that I've enjoyed reading it. You know, I don't even necessarily know all of the bands being discussed, and I haven't necessarily heard all of the recordings being discussed, but I still have found it extremely fascinating, and it's got me pulling these records out again. Like, I was just listening to In the Land of Grand Pink again. I've been listening to Soft Machine's 4th album. I've been listening to Egg, Hatfield the North, National Health. About the only group I haven't pulled out in a while is Gong, and I really need to do that because I think they're my favorite of the scene. But here, I'm going to just show you by comparison. Here's an excellent book on the original Star Wars trilogy. And this is kind of another similarly sized book, so you can kind of tell what the scale is that we're talking about here. See, it's amazing how this book can just, it's packed full of information, yet you can just hold it in your hands, and it's a nice, like, coffee table experience. Unlike something like this Peter Hamill tome, which I bought and read and very much enjoyed. But this thing is quite heavy and unwieldy and might even injure your back a little bit if you're not careful. But this is lightweight, although the content-wise, it's definitely not. And, I'm finding it extremely easy to read. And one of the things that I really appreciate is that not only does Aymeric talk about sort of the main catalog items, such as the albums that I mentioned, but he also is including a lot of the extra material. So when I mentioned these Soft Machine records that I worked on, I like that these are also discussed in the book, providing their proper context within the wider narrative. So I'm going to leave a link to pre-order this book in the description. And if you don't want to miss my upcoming interview with Aymeric and Steve, you're going to want to subscribe to the channel. Also, there are options to purchase this book in Europe. So I'm going to leave a link for European customers because my friend Pontus was able to get a book very easily and ship it to Sweden and didn't have to pay outrageous shipping costs. So that's it for me for today. Thanks for watching, and you'll hear from me real soon. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.